Hey, this is Gilly Woodhouse on the Osteo Business Podcast, talking all things osteo business. Here's Gilly Woodhouse, an author, speaker, award-winning business coach, and passionate advocate of osteopathy.
Hello, well today I'm zooming up to Beverley in East Yorkshire where Niall Walsh is waiting to talk to me about something brand new he's created. Welcome, Niall.
Hello, thanks for having me, Gilly. Nice to see you
Pleasure.
again.
Yeah, we bumped into each other at Therapy Expo a couple of months ago, which was cool.
Yeah, we're just saying how manic and busy it is. I think I've only been twice, but it's good. You get to sort of network and get to see what's sort of up and coming in the arena. So I think I'll definitely go again next time. Went to a few talks as well, which was exciting.
Yeah, they had a good range of um, items and support for therapists and business support and gadgets and gizmos that I got excited about the OptiNeck wedge.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
had didn't you have a short treatment on that as well? Did you got
Yeah,
to?
I'm pretty sure I use that. Obviously, like you said, there's loads of names and different things, but I'm pretty sure I used some sort of neck wedge, which felt great.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was a couple of other things that were really good there. I mean, it's great, isn't it? You just walk around getting sort of free treatments for a day.
yeah.
And then you get your neck all tired looking at all the talks and stuff, and then you can go and find the wedge again. It's brilliant.
Right. So I've been talking to a few of you lately that have brought in or created something that works alongside your general practice, and that is a way of bringing in extra income. And you've been telling me about something you've created, which is called Osteofit. So I believe you've got quite an interest in osteoarthritis in your work.
Yeah. I think when it initially wasn't something that we were attempting to make money out of, I think once you've been an osteo or physio or chiro or sports therapist for a while, or you start running a clinic, you start to look at, what is it that we do right? What is it that we do wrong? And yeah, we did a bit of an assessment and looked back at what we're doing right, and we did plenty right. For the patient's point of view, we were good with diagnosis, good with assessment. We build good rapport with them. But one thing that I always felt was missing or wasn't quite as good as what we could make it was our exercise prescription or our follow-up support in that sort of way. I personally have a long history of strength training. I did the British Championships for weightlifting, so I know what it's like to run
Oh,
programs in the background, just stick to something consistent.
yeah,
And I know how good it makes you feel, how mobile it makes you feel. And people that are sticking to those sorts of programs, they don't have to be super intense or super heavy. They do tend to get injured a lot less, which we can talk about later. Um, but yeah, for me at the clinic, we use things like Rehab My Patient, which is fantastic because we can give individual exercise prescription for people. It's got videos to go along with it. But what we
yeah,
kept finding was that, first of all, if you're sending things like emails and Rehab My Patient, they don't strengthen the patient as a whole. They're specific to that injury normally. So if someone hurts their knee, you might give them, terminal knee extensions, some wall sits and stuff like that, which is great for that particular injury.
yeah,
And you can give them a 4-week plan to get them better, 6-week plan to get them better. And it can be progressive. So we were finding that sort of dimension. But what we realized that we were missing was that behind the scenes strength training that people that who weren't confident at the gym, we wanted to give them something that they could do at home and they could follow someone that they trusted, like myself, like some of my team. And it could be laid out in a real simple way where, if you're a bit of a technophobe, all you need to be able to do is to get onto the website, which we can help them with. Your osteopath can help the patient with as well. It doesn't have to be me. And then they can simply click on an exercise and there it is. And we think we've developed something pretty good.
fantastic. So what made you actually build that? That was literally what you said, like you felt that there
Mhm.
was a gap there. Were you
Yeah, the
seeing a
gap.
lot of patients like that needed it?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at research now, I think osteopaths in particular and chiropractors were very invested in the hands-on treatment, which is fantastic because it makes people feel good. But it's well established now that that feel good is temporary and something should be bridging that gap basically. And we think that that gap can be filled by something like Osteofit. We just support patients being as strong and as mobile as possible whilst they continue to see their osteopath or their sports therapist or their physio. It's not going to take away from that, but they can still build themselves up. Things like osteoporosis and osteoarthritis and inflammatory conditions. It's great giving those people exercises when they come and see you, but they're often in the most pain when they come and see you. You make them feel a little bit better. They then go away and you've given them exercises, but they might struggle to do that because they're in the middle of a flare up or their knee really hurts. So what we would rather do is have people following something consistent year round, and then obviously they can still come and see their osteo and physio when an injury or a niggle or just to get a loosen up occurs, you know?
Yeah. So how does it actually work in simple terms then?
So it's a subscription-based platform online. So you just go on the website, you make a little login, you subscribe. We don't do any different tiers. We simply do monthly or annual. And if you sign up to either of those, you get full access to everything. We've got two programs that run almost concurrent to one another. It's called the Home Light and the Home Intermediate. If you're someone who is fairly immobile, so you have got something like osteoarthritis that really makes you struggle with, for instance, getting onto the floor, getting in and out of a chair, or you don't want to be doing big dynamic movements, then the Home Light program is pretty much perfect for you. There's no floor exercises whatsoever. It's built predominantly around chair exercises, but we do have standing exercises. But if we ask you to do an exercise on the Home Light program, it'll always be supported by an aid like the back of a chair or a table or a partner assisted movement. So you're very much quite supported with it, and it doesn't require people getting in and off the floor. And then the intermediate one is sort of for your everyday person, maybe 40 plus, who just wants to stay fit and strong, but they're still capable of doing floor exercises, lifting certain weights. The great thing about it is we really focused it on being a home program. So everything you do on there, we sometimes give recommended equipment like a resistance band, but you can use different things. We've got broom handle exercises, chair exercises, sit to stand based exercises. So you could just use a tin of beans if you haven't got anything. But the idea is that you can just grab anything that you've got at home until you become more comfortable with it, and then you can move on to maybe lightweights or resistance band stuff. But it's progressive for whoever's using it.
Oh, that's brilliant, Niall, because I think that sort of idea of a kitchen gym, if you like, with the broom handle
Yeah,
and in tins, etc., is just so easy for people then. You haven't got to go out and invest in all this gear and then, like some of us
yeah, so
stop
true.
doing it after a few weeks and then we've got all this gear. I got some in the corner over there.
Yeah, because I think as well, I mean, osteopaths will sympathize with me here. If you're teaching someone who's never been to the gym or never had much of an interest in sports, something simple like a hip hinge, which is actually not simple at all. It's very dynamic and it's a hard process for their brain and body to get the idea of, shifting the hips backwards, allowing the back to move forward but remain straight at the same time. It's quite a difficult thing to explain,
That's
let
complicated.
alone tell them to go and do something like a stiff leg deadlift or Romanian deadlift. So by doing this, it's all there in front of you in a video. You don't need to be, educating your patients on every single movement that they'll go through because we're sort of doing it for them.
Yeah.
And it just sits in the background. And like I said before, you'd still do your rehab my patient stuff on top of that or your email support. It doesn't have to be exclusively that they're doing Osteofit. If they injure themselves doing something, let's say they went and played hockey and they hurt their knee or they fell down the stairs, you'd stop Osteofit for 6 weeks and maybe just do your specific programming that you're going to tell them to do as the osteopath, and then say, right, you pretty much better now. You can get back onto your normal Osteofit programming in an attempt to keep joints strong, increase muscle, increase bone density.
Awesome. That sounds really sensible and logical to me, as the person who doesn't do the sport that you mentioned.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And actually, as an aside, women of my years are often told we should be doing strength training and all this, and then some are saying no, you shouldn't, you should be doing tai chi or something else, I don't know, or yoga or something. I mean, is it, you know, in your opinion, is it a good idea for middle-aged-ish women to do strength training?
Yeah, I would say if there was a group that should do it more than anyone else, I would say it's women, pre or post menopausal women, because it's, the studies are clear with bone density. That curve is just unavoidable, regardless of how high you get bone density to start with. When you hit that menopause, it declines. So, the higher you can get it beforehand, the better. And then the more you can maintain it afterwards, the better as well. There are certain groups, people who've had a history of eating disorders or steroid abuse or medications, who then go through the menopause and their bone density obviously is at, critical stage. I've got some studies that I looked at, so 17 randomized control trials, which included 690 postmenopausal women, found that resistance training increased bone mineral density at the key fracture sites, which is lumbar spine, femoral neck, and total hip, compared with controls. So that just shows how important it is to build bone density through resistance training. Bones are dynamic, they respond to lines of stress. Within bones, you've got things like trabeculae that build themselves up as you add stress. So if people are shying away from exercise, or they're doing very, very gentle exercise, yes, it will make them feel good because movement's a great painkiller, but is it going to prevent them from fractures? Probably not. So yeah, the goal isn't to avoid movement, it's really to sort of build capacity safely, progressively. That's why we've got the home light program, and then that moves on if people feel comfortable to the intermediate program. We haven't got an advanced program because, the personal trainers can do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
We want people, the average person, everyday person who's never set foot in a gym, to feel nice and confident. They know that it's clinically led. It's not just some random person giving people bicep curls. We do have bicep curls in there because we have to have those curls for the girls and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's a nice blend. It's non-specific, which it should be, just to create, strength within people, really.
Yeah, that's good to know, actually, and I shall take that on board. Where do I sign up?
Brilliant. Yeah, so you obviously can go to osteofit.uk and you'll find all the details there. But yeah, so osteoporosis was high up on our list of what we would be, trying to help. And then arthritis, obviously up there as well. One of the sort of arguments against things like strength training is, well, similar to what you said in terms of, post-menopausal women, people that already have very low bone density. Is it going to make a difference with me strength training? Is my bone density going to massively increase? I've already shown you with the study that I just read out that bone mineral density will increase, but it won't increase to a level that makes a huge difference if you're susceptible to fracture or if you fall. But the biggest cause of fracture in elderly, 87% of elderly, is falls. So if you don't fall, you don't get a severe fracture, basically. Yes, you can still get crush fractures to the spine and pressure fractures and things like that, but 87% is a big number, and a fall has to occur for that fracture to happen. So if you can save people from falling through strength training, yes, you're not directly doing much to the sort of bone density of that person who's really gone beyond that point. But with strength training, their proprioception increases, their balance increases, and their robustness to get off the floor when they have fallen increases, all of which reduces the impact of fractures and the possibility of fracture starting. So yeah, threefold really. That's what we were sort of targeting when we really went for it. So if you do sign up to Osteofit, there is also balance and proprioception exercises included, because yeah, we want it to be quite holistic, really.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea, actually. That's somehow you just sold me there, Niall.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, it sounds good. And I mean, I guess people might be thinking, oh, well, is that if my patients start doing this, is that going to stop them coming to see me anymore? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I guess it would be the thought process that went through people's head. But I'd always say to that is that some of the people that come most regularly to us are the people that are already training at the gyms. They're already health conscious, but they know that they want to look after the body. And anyone listening who has done any sort of strength training in the past, yes, it's great for your body, it's great for cardiovascular and respiratory issues as well, but you'll always pick up niggles along the way. It's a perfectly normal process of strength training. No one does full programs without little niggles and annoyances along the way. And it doesn't fully cure things like arthritis, particularly if it's an inflammatory type. People are still going to have flare-ups regardless if they do something like Osteofit.
Yeah.
But we just want them generally feeling better. And if you're that osteopath that said, I want you to do this program because I know that long term it's going to make you feel good, they're going to be more trusting of what you said because they'll think, actually, if I wasn't doing this, what sort of a state would I be in? And it's you that's provided that. We aren't blasted all over the pages of our Osteofit website. It's basically advertised as a strength program designed by osteopaths to support joint strength and bone density growth. So you are that osteopath, basically. You're giving them that information, empowering them to look after their own bodies. So if anything, it should encourage people to put more trust in you. There's plenty of times that we've had people in here saying, my chiropractor or my osteo said, to come back every week for the rest of my life, or otherwise I won't feel good. And people lose trust with that eventually. It's not you can't pull the wool over people's eyes continuously for the rest of their life. Your osteopath should be there to always help you if you need be. And as long as you're not lying to patients saying they need to come in every week, if you have an issue, come in. If you're just a bit stiff, that's fine, come in. But yeah, you're empowering them to do their own thing.
Yeah. And what sort of feedback are you getting from your patients, Niall?
Good. We trialed it at the moment. It's live now, but it's only been live since Monday. But we've been trialing the sort of strength training that we would put up there anyway. And everything's been positive so far. We've had little things that we've tweaked. People would give us some feedback or say that, this certain exercise was a bit difficult or it needs more explanation. And we've gone away and done that. So that's part of the trial process, I guess, is obviously you adapt to things that people are saying, and it was great to try that really. And it hasn't been too bad, the technical side of things as well. We try to make it as really clear and concise as possible on the website.
Yeah.
We haven't filled it with millions of tabs, and basically each week we re-upload program for the next week. So when they click on their individual program, let's say Osteofit Home Light, they'll only have day 1 to day 7. Within that, there'll be training days, which are clearly marked, and it says, today you're doing this, this, and this. And when you click on any of those exercises, it will take you to the video of us doing those exercises in instructional. And as well as training days, there's also active recovery days, which will basically encourage patients that although they're not having a training day, they can still go out and go for a walk, take the dog for a walk, go swimming. It's the stuff that osteopaths are renowned for, giving that great lifestyle advice as well as the hands-on treatment and medical sort of diagnosis. The patient should be treated as a whole, shouldn't they? So that's what we're sort of aiming to do, really. And I think we've made some changes and now it works pretty seamlessly. So I'm really pleased with it. It's a nice looking program. Like I said, with my history of strength training, I knew what programs were easy to follow and the sort of instruction that I would want if I was new to learning something. So I've tried to put that in there. Everything's very linear and laid out nicely, because you do some programs and they're just, all over the place. It's hard to know, what does this mean? What does that mean? You can't really make that mistake with our site. So I'm hoping it will help.
Yeah. So you're saying that the patient only sees the next 7 days of exercises to do?
Yes. What will happen, because it's only been live now, is that this week's programming from Monday to Sunday will get logged. So if you wanted to, you could go back to last week, but the page that loads up when you first sign up to Osteofit, you first click your program, is this week's program, day 1 to 7, day 1, day 2, day 3, not necessarily Monday to Sunday, because people do things on different day. And it's also encouraged that if an active recovery day is day 3 and you're doing it on a Wednesday, but you have to, take your mum shopping on that day, then you can swap that to, you put the active recovery day somewhere else or put the training day somewhere else. It doesn't need to be followed exactly to the day. You can muddle your days if that helps, but you'll get the collection of the full 7 days to move around as you need. And if you feel like something's too advanced or a little bit different, you can either go back to last week or you can go to the lighter program. So you get access to everything basically.
Really good. Because it does allow for that for life, doesn't it, to get in the way and be inflexible sometimes, which is good.
Yeah,
I like
100%.
that very much. Yeah, it's that really fits in with, some of the craziness that we get now and again, where it's like, and people are less likely to give up on it then as well, aren't they? Because once you start getting behind with something, then you just kind of go, oh, mess this up now, I'll give up.
It's demoralizing, isn't it? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
demoralizing. And yeah, that's just like we were talking about the gap before, what was the gap that we created? And it was that really, people getting disheartened when, we'd give them 6 weeks of exercises and they either didn't see a result or, they had niggles that prevented them doing aspects of it. So they got demoralized. But, when you can click an exercise and you see me doing it or you see my colleague Rosie doing it, it's a little bit more stimulating. It's a little bit more like we're in it together. And, we know again through studies that the more you actually stick consistently with something, even if it's not super intense, super heavy, super voluminous, you'll see the results far better than if you just did 6 weeks of training, for instance. If you do it for a couple of years, that's when you're going to know the biggest change, really, isn't it?
yeah. And so out of interest, how much time would that take for the person every day?
Roughly, they take about half an hour. We didn't want it to be too much longer than that. You can fire through it and do it far quicker, but for a patient that is not the most mobile, has to get themselves set up a little bit more steadily, it should take between half an hour and 40 minutes max. And there's only training days for either 4 or 5 days. So when you spread it out through a week, it's not much time, less than 3 hours really, but it needs to be enough to stimulate the sort of gains that we're getting. So I didn't want to shy too far away and say, just do a couple of things and you'll be fine. So we've given them some optional extras, some supersets that they can add in or take away. So, if they are in a tight schedule, they can just adapt, and it's all nicely laid out on the website so they can read about this sort of stuff and the flexibility behind it. I think as Osteofit continues, we'll try and add these as videos, me or my colleagues talking about why they're doing the program, how you can structure the program if time's an issue for you or equipment's an issue for you, or if you are, let's say, purely seat based. We'll give them little examples of what they can do if they see a certain exercise and they think they have to modify it. My short-term goal will be to sort of develop those videos and put them on the Osteofit site. So it's ever growing. Even the exercises that we use, it's taken us a lot of time and resources to film them all, get them all uploaded, get the audio fairly clear on them, and all that sort of stuff will be continuously added to. So it will be something that's worth doing.
Yeah. I think the other thing is that if you're saying you've just got the 7 days of exercises showing up, and you're less likely to get overwhelmed as well by how much stuff there is, because that can be another factor, can't it? It's like, oh, I'm never going to get through all this stuff, whereas if you just got 1 week's worth, you just go, okay, that's all I have to do this week.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why things like Rehab My Patient have had a lot of success in the past as well, because you can really, you can develop a nice structured sheet. It's not in an Excel format where it says, 3 sets, 12 reps, rest this much. It's laid out with a nice picture, a nice video, nice and descriptive, very easy to do, similar to how Osteofit's laid out. But again, it won't be, you're not going to get bored of the same 5 or 6 exercises that are sort of repeated. It will develop each week and you really feel like you're a bit more involved, if that makes sense. So it should be, I'm really hoping that it helps people.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm up for giving this a go, actually, now.
That's nice.
About it.
That's nice. You can give us some feedback then.
I will. Guess what? I'm at the desk all day long. Which,
Yeah, well, me too. It's always that neck and shoulder that gets a bit stiff on me, I think. Yeah.
I've just been to my osteo this morning. My goodness me. Oh, she got her fingers right into all this stress in neck and shoulders. Yeah.
Is your osteo called M?
She is.
I've just heard it on the other podcast. Where's that based?
I'm in Ruislip, West London.
Ruislip. Oh yeah, very close to where I grew up in Northolt, aren't you?
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
For our sins.
Exactly. Oh well, I think what you've created is groundbreaking actually now, and I like the
That's very
simplicity
kind.
of it. I think you've really thought through about the end user and how, they might be a bit more elderly and a bit more immobile, and you've structured it to fit around that. So it's, you're not saying you don't do high kicks all over the lounge. You're just going,
Yeah,
tin of beans, love, that'll do it. It's really,
yeah, I think funnily enough, that was actually when we were thinking about sort of, when we realized actually other osteos could really benefit from this, other patients could benefit from this. We thought, how are we going to market it? Because a lot of it looks quite boring, people sat on chairs lifting tins of beans and broom handles. But then we thought people want that sort of thing, really. They don't want to be
yeah,
lifting massive barbells and doing pull-ups all day. If it's not something that stuff's great if you are, athletic, you've developed doing that sort of stuff, you've got
yeah,
friends to train with, you haven't got 6 kids running around or whatever it is that your circumstance allows. But hopefully with these home exercises, you can do it on your phone, you can do it on your computer, you can do it with your husband or wife, and half an hour out of your day, 5 days a week, and you're going to combat arthritis, combat osteoporosis, and prevent falls. So better than a Netflix subscription in my opinion. Not that I'd
absolutely.
live without Netflix.
Oh, I'm quite good. I'm not too addicted to all that stuff. So yeah.
Brilliant. I think I am.
Oh, so now, Niall, you've probably heard about the Gilly arm twist.
I have heard about the Gilly
Uh,
arms. I've come prepared for that, don't worry.
you're prepared. Excellent. So what kind of deal can you offer to my listener?
So if your listener is an osteopath or any other allied healthcare, they will get 50% off for themselves, which will allow them to be able to either do the program themselves or look at what their clients will be doing. So if they've referred people to Osteofit, they'll be able to also say, well, I know this person's been doing their, bent knee calf raises on Monday and they've come in with this. So we'll see how the program has been getting on so they can follow that along. So if they enter the code Gilly, Gilly, they'll get 50% off.
Very generous of you. I barely had to twist your
Yes.
arm at all.
If that osteopath has a clinic or they want to benefit from it personally, giving it to patients, if they email info@osteofit.uk, give me their name or their clinic or whatever sort of brand they run, then we'll set them up a 20% code for them to give to patients, basically. So if your name was Maria and you ran Cheshire Osteopaths or whatever, you could make the code Cheshire. And that will give all of their patients 20% off Osteofit. They just have to email me.
Clever. I'm going to write that down because I think that's nice and easy for them, actually, isn't it? So
Yeah, personalizes it a bit as well, because that's what we were saying. We're not trying to make something that glorifies me or my colleague as an osteopath. We want osteopaths to be shown to be doing something different, and I think they do everything fantastic. But what I think osteopaths lag slightly behind is the exercise prescription side of things. So if we can offer them something personalized, so it looks professional, but is also structured and doing the right things, then yeah, I'm happy to, hopefully support it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's great. I think it's really clever what you've done, actually. Good for you.
Brilliant. I hope it does well.
Well, thanks for joining me today. Unless you've
No
got
problem.
anything else to add, if I've missed anything out that I should have asked you, then shout now.
No, I can't think that there would be anything else, but yeah, you can always go to osteofit.uk. It's not .co.uk, and just check it out for yourselves. It's a 7-day free trial anyway, so have a little look. It's not very expensive because we want people to be able to do it. So yeah, thank you for having me.
Perfect. Thank you for spending time with me today, Niall.
No problem. No problem.
Thanks for listening to the Osteo Business Podcast. Remember to like, follow and subscribe on all Gilly's channels, which can be found in the show notes. Gilly's back soon with more tips, ideas, and strategies to build your thriving practice.